Hello, my name is Jacob Fry. I'll be acting out the practical crime scene collection assignment. First off, the scenario is a drive-by shooting that resulted in the death of a 19-year-old male, John Smith. After the shooting, witnesses called into 911, gave a brief description of the vehicle, claiming it was a black truck of some sort. Approximately 4 miles from the crime scene, patrol officers seen the vehicle. After a short chase, the suspect was apprehended. After the suspect was put into custody, the officer observed a firearm and some shell casings within the vehicle that is believed to be involved in the shooting of the 19-year-old male. So, as a crime scene investigator, it's my duty and obligation to collect this evidence following all laws, regulations, and procedures. Since the suspect is believed to be a part of the crime, there's probable cause. So no search warrant is needed to process the vehicle. But the chain of custody paperwork will need to follow in every step of the evidence that's collected and everything that's in regards to the case. The importance of the firearm and the shell casings within the vehicle is that we are able to get the ballistics from the shooting that occurred previously and match those to the firearm that's in the vehicle. Now, when the firing pin strikes in a firearm, a gas is let out, and that's gunshot residue, which we'll also be searching in the vehicle. But it also makes markings on the shell themselves and the shell itself and the actual round. So the round has some implications from the barrel of the weapon. Now, those ballistics will be compared to the ballistics from the firearm that's found in the vehicle. And the gunshot residue, when a firearm is discharged, gases are let out, and those are best to collect immediately after a shooting. One, to avoid the suspect saying that they go to the gun range a lot or they just got done firing somewhere else. But two, there's the highest level of concentration of that chemical on the hands, or in this case, the suspect will have their hands done, but in this case, within the vehicle. So the vehicle will have some sort of gunshot residue if the weapon was found to be discharged in the vehicle. So I'll need my chain of custody paperwork, my forensics toolbox, and I will process the crime scene. So my forensics toolbox, I've already preset laid out a few things. I got dusting print, duster for any type of fingerprints found on the vehicle handle, on the firearm itself, lifting tape, a pair of tweezers, that's why I'm not touching it, wearing my latex gloves, and a evidence collection container, which is sealed. That way anything that's found is not damaged or contaminated during the evidence collection process. So this is the vehicle in question. This is what the suspect was pulled over in. That will need to go in my chain of custody paperwork. It is a 2018 Dodge Ram. The VIN number, license plate, make and model, everything will need to be identified in here, along with the case number, my number, my badge number, and everything else. So There is visible prints on the door handle, but we will dust it. That way we get a good Latin print, and we will lift it just to ensure that there was no other suspects in the vehicle. And this will all need to be documented in the chain of custody. So this is just a forensics countermeasure to ensure that nobody else was there, even though when the suspect was pulled over, there was nobody else in there. Want to be careful when lifting these prints to ensure that we don't smudge it or ruin it. So once this is done, we'll enter the cabin of the vehicle and we can see a visible firearm. And the officer on the scene pointed out a shell casing here and a shell casing here. These both will need to be collected for further forensics to do a comparison. So we want to grab that there, put it in our container, and we want to grab the other one. So the firearm, one good practice is to ensure that the firearm is not going to harm the officer themselves when grabbing, definitely because the loaded weapon would be detrimental to my safety. So knowing this weapon is in here, I don't want to grab anywhere where I'm going to ruin any prints. I'm just going to carefully lift the weapon out. Now the serial number, make and model of the weapon will need to be put into my chain of custody paperwork, and this will need to be bagged and sent in for processing. Now an important step of all of this is to photograph where the weapon is found, and photograph all of the rounds that were found within the vehicle. So we're going to dust the weapon for prints. And use lifting tape to get any visible prints. So here's where the trigger rest is. So your trigger finger sits there, and we will pull a print off there. This all will need to be put into the into sealed containers for further analysis to match the fingerprints to the suspect. Now, gunshot residue should be collected with a Q-tip, and diluting nitric acid will be used to get the gunshot residue onto the cotton-tipped swab. So witnesses say they seen the driver fire the firearm from the driver's seat. So we will want to do some kind of collection, probably right near the steering wheel, and then on the ceiling, especially because the gases from the discharge of the firearm spray in an upward direction. And then this will be put into the plastic baggie, tagged and labeled. Now all of this evidence, there we go. All of this evidence in each spot that it was obtained. Why is it going blurry? Will need to be documented into the chain of custody where it was located. So the firearm was here. We've had rounds here. We got the photographs of all of the evidence, and all of it will be sent for processing. So hopefully, with the chain of custody paperwork being thoroughly done, the suspect already in custody, the firearm retrieved, and ballistics from the male who died, there will be a link and sufficient evidence to take this case to trial for prosecution. Thank you.